as a skinny guy, you need to become good friends with this machine right here. You need to become hombres with the leg extension because naturally we are taller guys with longer femurs, longer legs, and generally our quads aren't the best, right? Generally our quads look a bit crap because even if we've got the same amount of muscle as somebody else, because our femurs are longer, they don't quite look as good. And more often than not, they're gonna be a little bit of a weak point on your physique. So you need to start enjoying your time on this machine. You need to start learning how to utilize this machine so that your quads are on absolute fire. You're getting the most out of them. And also, there's no knee pain, there's no clicking, there's no joint pain and stuff like that. Because a leg extension is such a useful machine. Like, it's probably one of, if I had the choice of only 5 machines in a gym, a leg extension would probably be on there for me because you can set up the rest of your quad work. You can set up the rest of your session so well with a leg extension. You can also really torch that rec fem better than many other machines. And to be honest, you can do the majority of your quad work on this machine if you've got a top notch one. Like for example here, I'm using a prime leg extension that is, in my opinion, this is my favorite machine on the whole planet, like by a mile, because you can adjust the resistance profile. It's hugely adaptable. The seat reclines a long way. Like there's some great features here, but there are things that I'm doing on this leg extension that you can apply on every leg extension on the planet just to start getting on with it a little bit better, feeling it more in your quads, growing more muscle from it, and also not experiencing as much pain. Because in the past, when I'm trying to use leg extensions, like I've made some I've made some mistakes where it's just led to me getting like consistent knee pain, clicking, my joints are unhappy, and my quads at the end of the set are just like meh, don't really feel it. But the way that I set it up now, my quads are on fire. So let me run you through just a few of the things that I do. Number one, I set it up so that this pad is the furthest back that it can go, because when we lean backwards a little bit more and when we're almost in this position, you can see it here, right? Here, where I'm almost like, I'm on the reclining seat in the lounge. Do you know what I mean? I'm on that seat where you pull the lever and you probably go backwards, right? I'm on the back setting there. I'm almost taking a snooze. That is where you want to be, because the more that you can lean back, the more of a stretch you're putting in your rec fem initially, because you're in more hip, extension, whatever it's called. The one where it stretches out your rec fem. So in other words, if I was sat right upright, like straight upright, my rec fem, this muscle on the top of my quad, wouldn't really be stretched at all. But if I'm leaning backwards before I've even started this exercise, I'm in so much more of a stretch, okay? And the second thing that I do that is really important as well is notice how I'm not putting my legs, I'm not putting my knees just on the end of the seat. I'm putting my knees as far forwards off the edge of the seat, not as far forwards as I can, but like I'm letting them really hang off the seat. The reason I'm doing this is to make sure that the pivot point, or like the place where this machine is pivoting around, like that pivot point, right, is in line with my knees, because the machine will be so much more comfortable when you do that. So for example, when you're looking at this machine twisting, right, it's spinning around that point there. I'm making sure that I've lined my knees up with that point. And sometimes that point is not always in line with the end of the seat. So my knees actually need to be a little bit off the seat for this to be the most comfortable. And additionally, there's an added bonus here. If you push your knees off the seat a little bit further and add like this little bit of wiggle room, it means that you can actually stretch your quads a little bit further at the end of the range of motion. Because if my knees were tucked backwards, just about reaching over the pad now, as this pad came further in, it would almost be pulling me forwards. I want it to be able to like really fucking stretch my quads. So by leaving that extra little gap, it just enables a little bit more stretch, okay? The added kind of gym equipment I've used on this leg extension here as well, which you don't have to use, but might be useful, is I've got my knee wraps here, just to be honest, make the pad more comfortable on my ankles, because my ankles are so skinny that if the pad's tough and like hard, it actually hurts my ankles because my legs are that small that I have to use knee wraps to actually just make it a little bit more cushioned. I've seen people actually put these knee wraps around the pad itself. That can also work as well. It just feels a lot more comfortable. Can't explain it. Secondly, I've got a seatbelt on, keeping my hips fixed in, because otherwise when you get towards the end of the set, you'll realize you actually will start getting lifted up out of the seat. This seatbelt just fastens my hips in. And then finally, I've got wrist straps attached to these handles here. Sometimes I grab around the back of the handles, like here. Oh, perfectly on time. And that works as well. But I prefer, I think, having my hands actually out in front of me. And I think I do switch back to that. Yeah, I do. I switch back to that just, again, to help me keep my hips fixed in. So now that you've got your knees hanging over the edge, you've got everything set up so that you're getting a horrid deep stretch at the bottom. Yeah. You're also got it so that the seat is fully reclined. You should be experiencing this one thing at this point. And that is when you're at the bottom of the range of motion. So in other words, when this pad is the furthest in, you're getting a complete stretch at the bottom without tapping the machine out. So in other words, this machine is not bottoming out. If you look at it, not at any point is the weight stack actually touching down. It's stopping just a few centimeters before, and before it can touch down, I reach almost full ROM. I reach the point where my quad is the thing that can't stretch anymore. As soon as you've got that happening, you are in a position to torch your quads better than you ever have before, okay? So you want to set this up so that this pad is coming in, you're getting a really deep stretch on your quad, and your quad is the thing that is actually can't stretch anymore, and the weight still hasn't touched down. As soon as you set the machine up like that, you are on to a winner, okay? And then as soon as you've got that set up, you literally just need to learn how to start taking some sets very close to failure by fastening yourself in, taking yourself to your happy place, and literally just going until you can't, right? So if you look at these last few reps here, the last few reps on a leg extension set like this are fucking brutal. I'll tell you that straight up. They are evil. They are disgusting because you will be feeling such a treacherous burn across that quad at the end of this set. You have to learn how to just carry on going until that range of motion really starts to disappear, right? Until that range of motion, like, honestly, your muscles can't lift it any further. That is when you're going to start seeing quad gains quicker than you ever have. And when I started doing this within my own training, that's when my leg gains exploded. That's when my quad gains literally just came out of nowhere. Even 5 years into my lifting career, the gains started coming out of nowhere when I started implementing those tips. So hopefully that is useful, guys.